Drop your pole, just let your arms hang. Okay, other way. Take it easy. Yep.
I think kids have an advantage on this.
Kids have an advantage in this stuff. Let's go the other arm. Same thing, backwards. Think about that relaxation. It has to be kind of fast just to get it. Be careful this morning too. We haven't been up very long. I wouldn't overdo the stretching. Definitely don't hyperextend any shoulders. Don't let out all the tension up in here. Then let's just kind of. I know that not everybody's going to be able to touch your toes. Don't go crazy. Just stretch your lower back out and your upper back out and just go down. Typical touch your toes everything. Go as low as you can go, that's comfortable. Just try to relax there, try not to hurt anything. If anything's feeling like it's hurting, just come back up and relax and slowly bring it down. You're going to need to relax your back here today with the drills we're going to be doing, so we need to stretch it out a little bit. Angle your poles on more if you want to get a little bit of an angle. But just that little momentum is causing my leg to swing nice and naturally. And I'm not really, my leg is really loose, not really controlling it. You see the difference between this and this? Yeah? Shaking it out. Alright, let's try some side-to-side stuff. Same thing. Just swing your legs side to side like this. Swing up your hip flexion. Good, same thing. Try to relax as much as possible. I have a little more difficulty here because I have very strong hip flexion. It takes me a while to loosen these up. If you're a really strong skater, chances are you got really tight hip flexors. So, when this happens, your arm should be working. As you come through, it should stop working right about here. And then, if you've got to control the arm swing muscularly, you're working where you don't need to be. You come through, relax. Okay? So what we're going to work on right now is that motion. What happens to your shoulders? You see a lot of people skiing like this. They're doing crazy things with their arms, and they're working the entire time. What I'm going to try to do is get you to feel the difference in motion and tension and relaxation. That's why we start out with these drills where we're feeling your arm just kind of swing. Well, the same thing happens when you're cross-country skiing, classic skiing, skating. Whether you're skating, you're applying pressure when you're skating. You're right here. Your arm should be a pendulum, relaxing, coming forward again. Really relaxed. Okay? See, classic skiing, it's the same thing. Well, the first thing I'm going to do, and this is a very difficult drill, so if you don't get it, don't get frustrated, because it's semi-counterintuitive. A lot of us have been skiing for years, and we're used to doing a lot of things. And this is going to try to break it down to the most efficient motion for pulling for diagonal stride. Now, when you plant the pole, what's the least path of resistance your shoulder's going to take? If you keep your shoulders high, you're not getting a full range of motion. Watch my range of motion. I see a lot of people doing this when they ski. They kind of punch their shoulder up at the end. Watch this. Watch my arm swing. Now watch this. Relaxation in here. What's the same thing with pulling for classic skiing? The motion, you want the shoulder to go back and come back up for pull. Drop down, come back to pull. Let's just do one arm. Drop it, forward. Drop it. Don't come up. Drop it down. Think about it going down that way. Your shoulder. Just one arm. Yeah, there you go. Don't go too far over. Just think about your shoulder dropping down. Let's try the other arm then. Feel that difference. Dropping down like this. Almost like somebody's pulling your shoulder back towards your hip. Behind your hip. Okay? I'm going to watch a little bit. Is this making sense? A lot of people are, and I've seen already a lot of people do it, and it's okay, I'm not going to try to harp on you, but a lot of people are going to do this. Watch this. See the difference between this and this? It's completely the opposite. A lot of people want to go and come up with it, when they're done, they want to come up with the shoulders. It feels like you're working hard. You want to just let it go back and come forward. So let's do this. Everybody stand in a position. We're going to call this a neutral position. We're going to talk about this a lot. We're going to talk this about natural position. Legs bent a little bit. Shoulders sort of like a Neanderthal. Nice and relaxed. Relax your lower back. kick your hips out just a little bit like this. You don't want your hips like this, you want your hips like this more. Okay? See that? Hips don't want to be like this, you want them in like this. You're kind of thrusting your pelvis just a little bit. This is your natural ski position. We're going to talk a little bit more about this in hill bounding. We're actually a little bit standing erect right now, but if I do this and I lean forward, I'm classic skiing. Okay? Now all we're going to do is stand in that position. I want everybody to watch me here. I'll do it on each side. Watch this. My hands, look at my hands. They're like jelly, right? Shoulders are rounded. I'm not going to do anything with my arms except start dropping my shoulders. Like an ape. What happens to your hands? Don't control anything. Now think about your shoulders going back and forth. What happens to my arms? I'm not controlling anything. What are they doing? Looks like I'm cross-country skiing pretty soon. Now I'm getting a little more bounce to it. Look, what am I doing? I'm skiing. This is classic pulling right here. I'm not doing anything. Let's stop again. Stop again. Go back to that position. Go to this side. You can watch from behind as well. All we're going to do is start very slow. Don't do anything with your arms. Let them hang like noodles. And remember the shoulder? It's swinging back and forth like this. Your shoulder. Your shoulder. Like this. Stand like this. Yeah. Again, drop your shoulder. Not just down, but down and kind of back. Just like this. Go back and back up. Don't come up at the end. Just let it stay down. Before you know it, you're just doing this. Does that help? Watching me? You. Shoulders are you. It's going back and forth. It doesn't do this. It doesn't come up and around. It just goes back and forth. Here, follow me. Follow me. Drop your shoulder back. Drop your shoulder back. Drop your shoulder back.
Oh, there you go.
Just drop your shoulders. You do this with your shoulders? Okay. Now do it back and forth.
So is there a crack here?
Think about this. Think about this. You're going this with the U, it's back, and then it just comes right back through. Okay. Same thing with this side. Both arms, okay? Now, what you want to do to initiate a good double pull is, and this is the hardest part, is coming through with your hips, with your arms. Imagine while you're swinging now, we're going to take just little hops. We're going to come a little bit further. Don't think about jumping. Think about your arms pulling you forward. Start out with just a little bit of relaxation, and then we'll increase it. Now here's what I want you to think about. Think that there's a little rubber band on the thumb, around your thumb, attached to your hips, but it doesn't do anything. It's not long enough to do anything to the rear. All it does is pulls, when you come down through, it pulls your hips up. Do 5 jumps and go back to your spot. Does that make sense? Can you feel? So the big reason we do this is to work on timing of the double pull plan. So when you're double pulling, a lot of people will have their hips in a lot of different places because all they're doing is, well, I'm going to go out on my skis and I'm just going to go like this. And I'm going to move myself that way. But we're trying to create more efficiency today. And you'll see people pulling back here because this is comfortable. You're not going to fall doing this, but you're going to fall doing this. And the only thing that's keeping me up is my pull angle right now, but this is the position you want to be in when you hit the pulls on the ground. Now what's that going to require? It's going to require some ab strength. It's going to require some training. It's going to require really strong lats and triceps. But one thing that people think they really need to be a really strong skier is they think they need strong arm strength in their triceps, which is semi-true, but not really. What you need is good core strength. You need a good, solid ability to throw your weight onto the pulls. And the actual motion of pulling, it uses your arms very little. You use your core strength and your upper body weight to crush the pulls. And the only time you're really using your triceps is right here to there, where your triceps are even remotely isolated. So what you're doing is, and I'm gonna show you a drill later today called locking and loading, where as skis get faster and the wax gets faster, the equipment gets better, the range of motion is actually becoming a little bit smaller on the World Cup level and far more intense in short periods of time. So the initiation, getting into the right position, is critical for that, what we call that lock and load. When you hit the ground, that's where most of the speed in a good double pole is coming from, that initiation onto the snow. When Marla and I were younger and young ski racers, a lot of talk about really following through and really pulling hard back here. But we're starting to realize with faster skis and moving faster, we can do it a lot more efficiently by loading the front end of the double poling a lot more. And I'll show you some video. We can maybe get to some video this afternoon of some US ski team guys doing it that way. Process the motion. Relax your arms. Let's not jump forward first. Let's just relax. Your arms relax. When you feel like your arms are swinging, completely relax, and bring your hips into it. Standing broad jumps. That point when you're landing from your standing broad jump, point that where you're landing, that's the initiation of the pole, when your arms are coming down. That's where you should be initiating the pole. That's the timing of double poling. Let's do a few more. No. Think about when you're doing a good standing broad jump, you're going to generate your most power by preloading your legs. So your ankle angle right before the jump is fairly steep. So you don't want to be standing at a 90-degree angle and just jumping up. You're going to be jumping out and forward. You see the ankle angle increase right before I jump? Go ahead and think about that. Try it again. Good. Use your poles. Okay, same thing. Let's kind of lean forward a little bit. Give yourself a little bit of a forward angle. See where my shoulders are, a little bit forward angle. So you have the ability to swing that leg. Okay, everybody got some relaxation. Is your leg like a noodle? The reason this is good, this is why we work on this. See how I'm really stomping the ground? I mean, take the grass out below you. Just pop it, make it hit the ground. Why do we do this? Do this to really understand the difference between full relaxation and full power, driving power into the ground. That's exactly what has to happen when you kick your classic ski. You have to have that power generation and then relax right after. Try the other leg. The other leg going. This is not a literal technique thing, but we use it to get our bodies to be aware of the differences between tension and relaxation. You feel the difference? Yep. Now we're going to do without pull. Okay, we'll try to bring an arm swing. We're going to bring the leg up. This is really good for balance. Eventually, you should almost look like you're skiing. Still shoulders going back. Jay, this is just like yesterday's biathlon clinic, isn't it? Break it down into pieces, put it all together. Everything else are technical things that are breaking down the elements of stress, relaxation, and balance and motion required for cross-country skiing. It's not literally the technique we're doing necessarily skiing, but the standing broad jump and the arms are. This is very literal. When you're classic skiing, this is what your arms should be doing. I mean, obviously you're applying pressure when you're coming down this way, and you're pulling. But everything else, it's breaking down. These are drills. That's why we're not on the hill. We're not hill bounding. This is something that I do with my team. When we go do a hill bounding or a ski walking workout at an alpine hill, we'll spend 20 to 30 minutes doing all of these things so when they go do the work, they're doing good work. When they're ski walking, they're walking like they're skiing. When they're hill bounding, when they're doing skate bounding, we do all these drills just to remind them of our bodies, our minds are wired to our muscles with memory. I mean, you get to create the muscle memory to do the things, to feel the power here and then to feel the relaxation. If you don't work on that difference between generating power and then immediate relaxing, you're going to be generating power and you're still going to have semi-tense muscle.
Off to the hill for some hill bounding.
Neutral body position is the point at which, in your technique, at which you're not applying any pressure really, where you're in the kind of in the glide phase. In classic, it's the point, if you're diagonal striding, it's the point at which everything comes together right here, where everything's coordinated. Neutral body position is the point at which, in your skiing, that you're either, where you're not really generating any speed, you're just gliding. So in skating, if you're skating and you're coming off of poles, the point right here, where you're kind of making a weight transfer back to this glide ski where your arms are coming through. It's in the classic technique where your arms come together right in front of you and your legs are all right here. Now, and in the double pole, after the poling motion, you're coming through and your arms are right in front of you at a relaxed angle, you're coming through for the next poling. Where you want to be, and this is where we're going to buddy up, where you want to be is at a point where you're going to fall flat on your face if you don't catch yourself. That neutral body position has to be a forward lean. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to use my poles, neutral body position right here. This is not. Why is that?
Go forward.
You got to go forward. You want to use as much of your body's forward momentum into your gliding as possible. Okay? And you actually, yeah, you guys should face uphill. Don't face side hill. I'm just going to do the side hill. You're going to catch me in my shoulders. So here's what I want the person who's going to fall to do. Remember we were talking about slightly bent knees, very relaxed shoulders, right here. And all we're going to do is our person who's going to catch us is going to catch us on their shoulders. So you can put your hands up right here and just stand about maybe 1.5 to 2 feet from those hands. And all you're going to do is rock forward on your ankles. Nothing else changes. Don't change. Don't put your hip into it, or don't break at the hip. Break at the ankles. Everything stays the same, and lean forward. And now stay there. And push back. Feel that difference. Keep your heels on the ground too. Lean forward. There. Then stay there for a second. Keep your heels on the ground. Relax your calves. When you're in the forward lean position, I want you to think about something that'll come in later. Relax your calves as you do it. You can try it. You don't even bring your knees. It's just a rock forward.
Just rock forward on the ankle.
Yep. Think about the relaxation, and then all I want you to do is lower yourself put your head against the wall, and feel that angle in your ankle. Feel how much pressure goes into your head, and then all that's going into your ski technique for free, just standing like this and relaxing. That's your neutral body position. Now we're going to work on something on your own. Now we're not going to have a buddy. We're going to actually work on classic ski stepping. Taking that neutral body position to the next level. You come around the side here so you see what I'm talking about. From behind it's not so good. So the great thing about a hill is you can really feel your hips and all the energy go into the hill, and you can catch yourself a little easier than the flat, and it slows you down. So if I stand like this, neutral body position, and I start leaning forward, what do I got to do? I got to catch myself. That's the essence of cross-country skiing. Right there. Classic skiing, up a hill. It's a series of leaning forward, maybe generating a little bit of power off the leg, but ultimately that's the motion. And we're not stepping. This is not a step. This is a fall. And this is what we're going to work on next. We're just going to do it all the way up there. We're going to together, lean forward. See what's happening? I'm in my neutral body position. What's happening? All I'm doing, I'm leaning forward from the ankle. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm only leaning forward from the ankle. Let's practice it a little bit. A lot of good work here. Let's go down and do it again. for technical purposes rather than just training. So we're just going to try to work on the timing of the classic kick. We were all trying to feel the lean in and stop. Now we're just going to actually turn it into putting our arms into it and everything, try to relax. Okay? Same neutral body position and fall. And now just step. Don't reach. Just put it all together. That's it. Just like you're continually stringing along those falls. You're not okay, I'm going to warn you right now because I'm going to see a lot of people do this right off the bat. You're going to start reaching with your foot. You're going to try to step up the hill. Okay, so come stand out here. I want you all to come over here or over here. Come to the side. I want you to watch my hips and watch my ankles. Okay? I'm going to do it bad first and then good, and you show me the difference. That's bad. Now good. Bad. Good. Bad. Good. Let's hear some differences. What were some of the differences you saw there? Can anyone give me a good answer?
You're throwing yourself forward with your foot. When you were doing it bad, you're throwing yourself with your foot.
Right.
And your hips are moving a lot in the bad one.
Right.
They're locked, kind of like you're doing it.
What about energy use?
The good one, there was a more distinct difference between power phase and relaxed phase.
Right. And why is that?
I don't know. Because you're using ground, you're falling.
You're falling. Exactly. Good answer. How hard is it if my hip's here and I'm reaching with a foot? How hard is it to get high and lean into the hill? It's really hard. I got a foot stopping me from doing that. So what I got to do? I got to generate a kick from all the way back here. How hard is that kick going to have to be to generate speed? So it have to be twice as much energy almost as being here and popping. Do you notice there's a sort of a little popping look to that second one? Because my energy is already moving forward. All I'm doing is keeping that motion going forward with the pop of the foot. Now we were talking about that heel being down. It's very important for you to place the kick wax down like that, especially. You see a lot of people slipping by trying to drive the foot too far. And with old wood skis, they used to ski that way. They used to try to get as much room as they ever could, like in the 60s and 70s, before they went to faster fiberglass skis. You saw a lot of skiing like this. They're grabbing up the hill because the skis were a lot slower and the kick was a lot easier. But on the new fiberglass skis are so fast, if you have a high camber, you actually just have to get your weight down on it and keep the momentum going. So the technique has changed a little bit since the 60s and 70s. But here we'll look at it again. Look at the power I need to reach. Then I get my hips forward. Pop. Bad. Good. It almost looks like I'm cross-country skiing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Let's try that a little bit. Why don't you turn it into a bound? Just go ahead and let yourself go naturally. Good. There, that's even better. There you go. How's this working?
Tell me.
All right. Well, here's the thing, everybody. That first row we did when we were standing, we were breaking it down to a fall and stopping. It's a little easier to feel, isn't it? Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's why you have to keep one step at a time. You got to still do those drills and you feel it, and then slowly. Everybody else wants to jump right to hillbound, but you're going to hillbound better if you spend some time doing the fall and the catch. You feel it. And what happens is you start stringing it all together. You start forgetting about lean and all that. So just be sure that you always do a little bit of each, or build a progression so that you do good work in the hillbound. These are almost like real classic pulls. I would almost actually go to the point where I would use a pull about this one. So having an extra pair of hill walking pulls, it's better to have them, probably definitely under your armpit, just so that you have the ability to swing your arms like we were this morning. If the pulls are too long, you start getting all kinds of gangly stuff going on, and you lose your fall forward because your pulls are too long. You're trying to use your pulls, and the pulls become a problem. That's why we've waited so long to use our pulls. It tends to mess up what we've worked on so far. Well, there's two different things that we're going to talk about. What we just did was kind of the beginnings of ski walking / hill bounding. Ski walking is a workout that I'll use with my skiers to do anaerobic threshold level skiing with very specific motion. Anaerobic threshold meaning we're developing that range in our physiology that's just below race pace. It's very critical to develop that to race a lot and to race efficiently for a lot of the race, especially at a distance longer than 5 kilometers. So we'll talk a little bit about that during the lecture, but just know that this is a workout that we'll do in the fall quite a bit because it's almost just like going classic skiing. I like it better than classic roller skiing because classic roller skiing has all those things we're talking about. You got a ratcheted wheel. You can go into bad technique and still have good kick, which doesn't happen on skis. And I think it's much more realistic to do it in your running shoes on an alpine ski hill. We'll do it on pretty steep terrain, quite a bit steeper than this. The guys are in good shape, they wear heart rate monitors, and they keep it in a certain zone. But ski walking is something you can also do on your own where maybe you have great terrain around here. So you have trails that are very undulating, like maybe even long climbs. You can use ski walking as a sort of that anaerobic threshold zone where you're not going all out, but you want to go for a while. You maybe want to go 7-8 minute interval and do it with really good technique. This is the way to do it. So you just bring the poles in to kind of give you some generation of power from the poles too, and make it very much just like a classic ski. So we're doing all the same things. We're going to try to do the exact same thing, only with the poles. And I'm going to actually probably choke up on my poles a little bit at first, so I know how they feel. But same thing. You just want to get that pop. You want to use your poles. Look at my shoulders. Shoulders are just like when we were doing it earlier. Ski walking is a lot like skiing, where the kick is about like you're out skiing or racing. You're not really being dynamic. This is not what I call bounding. This is called walking because it's basically the same kind of kick that you would use for skiing. When I use the term hill bounding, it's a greater muscle fire than what you're actually going to do to build power and generate strength and speed. So let's do some ski walking. Everything the same. You're just using your poles. Back shoulder, forward knee. Has to be the same. Again, that's why I want a little bit shorter pole, so that you don't have this long pole and you've got a goofy angle that's either too steep. Like that's not a very realistic angle. It's going to push me a little too far. So you want to, my pole should probably be about this long. It's a good place to catch myself. It's the same thing as just catching yourself with your foot. And in general, you can see good pulling motion for speed. Your arm is swinging naturally. What happens when my arm swings? I just relax and watch my arm. What happens right there? Got about a 90-degree angle on my arm right here. It's not like this. It's not like this. It's natural. Right there. Comes up. It's a natural swing. Well, it's 90 degrees. That's about right where the pole's going to catch in the ground. See that? So when I'm watching a person ski, you're going to see their arm. Watch me. You're going to see at about a 45-degree angle off the pole, pull straight down the track, so almost a 45-degree angle off, and then a 90-degree angle to the shoulder. Elbows flared out just a little bit, where it's nice and natural. See, a lot of people saying, well, you got to do this. No, that doesn't make any sense. Why do you have to do that? Why do you have to do this? Why do you have to do this? Do what's natural. It comes natural. Very natural arm swing. It's going to hinge right here at about 90 degrees, and it's going to plant. Think about that while you're doing your bounding too.
I'm doing
my flare my arm.
90 and your arm, 45 degree, the pole is 30. Okay, I see it.
So you want to create some dynamism and build lean strength in your legs, and a lot of this is also building high lactate. It's training for racing. So what I really want to talk about as far as hill bounding goes, and this is fairly advanced, you may not even really need to do much of this. depends on the level of athlete you're at. But hill bounding, it's good for definitely for young kids if you want to get some fast twitch muscle fiber firing. This is a good way to do it, and some specific strength. But the real key for hill bounding is putting it all together at a much higher intensity, and it's almost a little bit beyond what actual ski technique is. The key to it is timing the kick. Again, if you're hill bounding, you're trying to be dynamic and you're trying to reach up the hill, it's unrealistic. That leg's stopping you out there, and you start doing bad technique. So what you want to do is very similar to what we were doing. This is what I always tell my skiers, both, and we're going to do this skating as well. Is you want the kick initiating as you're moving that fast, while this leg, remember the neutral body position? Hill bounding is speeding it all up. So you want the kick to come before that leg comes through. So the kick's got to be coming. Right here, right there. So you're coming down, kicking. So you can start out doing it slow and really try to be dynamic with your kick. But still, it's all about that forward lean. So you're doing it at a faster pace, but you still have to feel this. Okay, I'm going to back up a second. Why is this important to ski? This is where you'll really learn how to get your wax pocket down. Driving the wax pocket on a classic ski. If you have a good pair of racing skis that aren't too soft for you, that you've got to get the wax pocket down, good weight transfer, and this is about a dynamic preload of the knee and kick. That's where the kick is coming from. You guys understand the word preload. Preloading is getting your body in a position to do the work. And the preload of a skate or a classic kick has to be very quick. Where the knee, you're in the neutral body position and you do a quick little drop of the knee and pop off. Okay? So the preload is right there. I'm gonna do it without pull so you guys can watch my knees and watch my ankles. Okay? See how I'm starting to kick as my foot's coming right through? It's very quick. One thing we used to do with the Anakins that I didn't do with you guys this morning, but to do this, it's really funny looking. But they'd have us all stand around and just do this.
Yeah, that's good.
Let's go. Pop your knees down. Really quick. So think about that when you're hill bounding. Let's try it without pulls just to make it easier on you guys to do the work. Pop, pop. Somebody makes a move. Looks like I'm skiing really fast. That's what you're doing.
You know, for a baseball player, he's pretty athletic.
Absolutely. Can you classic ski very well without having these tools down? Probably not. That's the difference. You can skate with really crappy techniques. And there's a lot of people doing it. The reason you can do it is because you don't need to place the kick zone. So, why are we doing this? Because you're going to become a better skater if you're a better classic skier. It's all the same principles, the same things. So if you're coming here looking to be a better skater, if you can't do the classic stuff, you're not going to be a better skater. It's that simple. So, who was it that asked, why does a biathlete do the biathletes don't hang? Classic, I ski the size 3. I mean, admittedly, I'm a much poorer, I always was a much poorer classic racer. It wasn't because I was technically inefficient. It was because my kick this direction is massively strong and my kick this direction is exponentially weaker. And just that's the way I'm built. So, but that's talking about fine details into, you know, racing at a high level. But so with skate technique, almost everything's the same. Neutral body position, same thing. If we're gonna ski for classic skiing, this position is the same as this position. Same position, same thing. Everything's the same. All we're doing is moving semi-laterally. And this is actually where classic skiing in the modern era, with new, faster skis, is actually being taught more like skating, actually, the classic part. The point of what we were talking about with driving the kick zone down and kicking here rather than worrying about the soccer ball. focusing on. You know, the soccer ball kick might work for certain people, but I'm not going to teach dryland that way because I want you guys to learn the dynamics, the timing of a good classic kick. It's the same as skating. So we're going to work on skate bounding or skate stepping. And I do a lot of this with my team. It's for building lower intensity specific strength. I can do this, what I call at the development endurance level, which is probably what a lot of you guys would call level 2, maybe level 2.5 if you're following training zone levels. And what I can do is I can get my guys out there, my guys and girls, on an alpine hill, and we can do 10 minutes of this. And the intensity of the lactate's very low, the training intensity is quite low, but they're getting a maximum strength workout for skating. And we'll do it on a pretty steep hill. And the way I keep the intensity down, it's a little harder than classic if I want to get the kick right, but one of you guys was doing it really well. You were. I was saying we're going to go do that with skating. What I'll do is, and I learned this from a guy I trained with in Sweden who was Olympic bronze medalist in biathlon. He did a lot of specific skate strength on a steep uphill. And I asked him, how can you go up that hill? He goes, well, I stop every step. You keep the heart rate down. But every push is really dynamic. So what we do is we work on the key differences between doing a classic step. Remember we were talking about keeping your heel down to the last minute and popping off of it. It's the same thing with skating. A lot of people skate on the balls of their feet. But it's far more efficient to keep your calf relaxed and generate the push from the entire foot. Rather than being up here and pushing like that. Feel the difference. Let's just do that. Put your foot at an angle, about an angle that you're going to V1 up the hill. And then stand on the ball of your foot and push off. Now put your heel, have equal distribution of weight on your heel, foot, and ball, and push off. Feel that difference? It's far more dynamic coming from the full side of the foot. And this is a very nuanced detail that I harp on. A lot of people don't. They're more worried about the hip being forward. But it's really critical in skating relaxing. I think Ole Einar Bjørndalen, the biathlete, you guys are going to think I'm biased, is the best, most efficient skate skier in the world. Biathlete, cross-country skier. And he's won a cross-country ski World Cup. He's been twice, 3 times. The guy knows how to skate. If you break down his technical aspect, you watch his foot. His heel stays down, and his angles are extremely deep, like this. His weight's forward, and his push comes, he's got a full range of motion right off the heel. And that little bit is pretty important. The other reason it's important is your calf stays relaxed through most of the cycle. If you're tense and on the ball of your foot, your calf is always tight. It's working when it doesn't need to be, and then your push is far less dynamic. It's a lot of what we were talking about down there, about relaxation, power, and relaxation. So think about that. Think about pushing off the entire side of the foot. Now we're going to do the same thing we did with classic, but we're going to do it to the side, up the hill at an angle. So we're going to sit in a neutral body position. We're going to lean forward and step to the side. Off the side of your foot. And be ready to kick. The whole reason that we have to not try to step is so that we're ready to do the next kick and our hips are forward. Another thing that I was just talking, and I can't remember your name?
Marla.
Well, Marla.
The other
Marla. The other Marla. The other thing that Marla that she was asking me about, which is a good point, and I forgot to talk about it, is what is your knee doing in this whole thing? We've heard a lot, if any of you have read over the last 20 years, nose, knee, toes. It really doesn't help with the way the technique is going. It really isn't doing that. You really want to be generating your direction straight down the track, even though you're moving this direction. Your skis are moving that direction. Doesn't mean your whole body goes that way. You want your body going this direction. And remember what I was talking about, we'll get in front of you guys. We're talking about this right here, about pushing off the whole foot. Another reason that pushing off the whole foot, to think about it, helps, is it gets you the right knee drive. If you're pushing off your toe, your knee might go that direction, and that's not the direction we want to go. We want to generate speed that direction. You want your knee to drive down the track, even though your foot and ski is going that direction. So the knee, if you guys want to come up in front of me here, or watch from behind, you can see, but this is not a good knee drive because it causes my body to kind of face this direction. This is the knee drive you want. When you're skating, you want the knee drive down the track. And that's going to ensure also that your hips stay forward. You want your hips in front of your heels all the time. Think about your butt being in front of your heel all the time. See that? If you do that, you're going to feel that lean into the heel, always in front of your heel. So go back and let's try some more. And that's just for power. It's a little less literal technically. I'm trying to generate as much power for these guys so they have really strong skate kicks. So that's why I do preload right here. Still relaxing the kick after, but I'm holding it back before I kick. You try a few, it's pretty intense, but give it a try. For skating, I do a lot of that stopping, jumping. The first skate, that's almost all I do for dry land skating.
Oh, okay.
So the last thing we did, you do very little.
What's that?
The last thing we did, you do very little.
Both classic and skate, the last thing we did, we do very little of. It's like little, I'll probably do it late fall before going on snow to generate some dynamism before they're going to spend 25 to 30 hours a week skiing really, really slow at high altitude. Just to kind of get their neuromuscular system going before they're going to go and go really slow for a long time.
Well, what about the upper body with skating? I mean, you know, we've got V2, we've got V2 alternate, and we've got V1, and the rhythm of all that. Because when I'm coaching people, it's really hard. I find that alpine skiers can pick up the V2, but getting the rhythm of the V1 is tough.
I don't have a good.
You don't have a good.
Roller skis is about the only thing you can do.
Okay. Well,
and honestly, roller skiing for skating is 10 times better than classic roller skiing. Like we do way more. When I break down my training for my team, the guys that are training right now that are pretty serious over the summer, we do very, very few classic roller skiing intervals or high intensity. When they go and do a classic roller ski, it's a recovery workout from something else, almost always. And what I'll usually have them do is like 2 to 3 times 10 minutes in an hour and a half recovery roller ski, 2 to 3 times 10 minutes of double pulling or single sticking with their feet. And then we'll go over that a little bit in the roller ski session today. But I use ski walking for classic ski specificity in the summer. For skating, when we go skating, most of our technique workout for skating is done on roller skis. And for building specific strength, it's hill bounding for skating. Weight transfer is really important for both skating and classic, and where your weight, and a lot of what we were working on today had balance or weight transfer inherently in it. You know, leaning, stepping. But when you start getting, and you start moving, and you start getting on skis, and you start getting on classic skis in the winter, trying to get the wax pocket to work, then weight transfer is everything. And the reason it's important is that if you don't have a full weight transfer, you never get fully relaxed either. Because in this position, you know, when you're actually gliding, you want everything at this point, right from here to here. As I'm coming through to kick again, everything should be relaxed. And if don't have all my weight comfortably on the glide ski, I'm going side to side from ski to ski, I'm never getting full relaxation, and I'm probably never getting a full kick. Get on your skis and just get on a slight incline like this. This is why I wanted an incline with a parking lot. They'll just, that fall forward that we were working on this morning will help you start getting your kick. You'll slip a little bit at first with kick wax on, but what I'll do is I'll actually do a couple of shuffle steps to get going, and then get going, and if I'm slipping at all, I'll shuffle step again, and still work on good weight transfer. So watch my hips, my shoulders, everything transfers from ski to ski. So I'll do a couple shuffle steps, get going. You got full weight transfer to each ski. Still relaxing my upper body. One thing that if you're coaching yourself early in the season you can't do too much of, and that's skiing without poles. Because you're going to learn how to get the wax pocket down. Now one thing that you'll see on that video, that US ski team video, is they'll do, let's all move along the side here and I'll show you some stuff. And one of the drills they'll show you on that video if you buy it, is people trying to kick too far out and slipping because they're not getting a good weight transfer and a good purchase on the kick zone. So they do a little thing. I'm gonna demonstrate it for you, where they actually are trying to kick really far out and they end up kicking late because of it, meaning they're gonna slip a lot. So you'll see Pete Wardenberg, for example, on the video, where he has a technique called the shuffle step. I think he calls it the shuffle step. He puts two poles out on the uphill where he tries to get his weight further forward like before, where he changes from the bad to the good. So I'm going to do that again, demonstrate that. If you get going and you're really trying to grab the kick wax, a lot of times you don't get a good weight transfer. So he has two poles out and he does a two-pole shuffle step, just like you're hook on the morning. I was talking to Marla about this. When we were learning how to ski when we were kids, in the early 80s, a lot of people were talking about really reaching out. We had a lot shorter poles, and really getting way down and pulling really hard out the back. Really hard back. As things have gotten faster, we're starting to realize that it's an awful lot of work. And with faster skis, the initiation of the pole plant is actually where the top level skiers are getting all their power. It's still extending all the way back, but the initiation, like we were doing this morning, coming out, that's really what you want to work on, and really pounding the ground and initiating, generating most of your velocity in the first quarter of your double pull. So I'm just gonna demonstrate. The first drill I'm going to do is called a lock and load. It's purely initiating. It's not doing a full double pull. It's thinking about coming from here, relaxed, locking, and loading your weight on the poles, and just locking and loading. Broad jumps on the skis. It's a little scary to get all the way out there with these roller skis up, but you can still work on it, and that's why I wanted to get on classic skis and work on double pull a little bit. So I'm going to do another lock and load here, and then I'll do a full double pull. Lock and load. I'm hoping I'm not going to break that close. Really pretty small. What do you guys notice about that? How much of my arms am I using? How much of my arms am I using moving forward? To propel myself. Like, if you're talking about percentage of all the force going on the poles there, how much about my arms? It's almost none. Right. That's why they call it the lock and the load. You're locking your position and you're loading your weight. Where were my arms there? Remember when we were talking about natural swing? Right. And why the 90? So if I'm up here, I can't load the pole. You also don't want to be back here. You want to be getting forward. So it's a very natural place when you come forward. At 90, it's about a 90-degree angle. You just work on loading those poles, and it's just all your upper body weight. It's just like what we were talking about with the classic stuff. Getting weight forward, coming through, locking the load, and just letting our body fall forward, move us forward. So I'll just go and do a normal. Well, next thing I'm going to do is a kick. Let's try it. Fall forward, kick. Lock and load. So I'm going to go a little faster speed. Remember, the kick's got to happen just like the rest of the kicks that you've been working on. See that forward position? And the kick even helps you get more forward. It's very natural motion. Okay, so now I'm just going to put it all together and fully extend to the back. Full double pull and then a full kick double pull, just to give you, just like we were doing. Same thing with double pull. Relax. So I'm going to come in, lock and load, and come out the back. Come forward, come forward. to really work on relaxing my arms. As I come forward, I don't have any, the poles are straight, still coming up with my hips, and relaxing all the way until I load the pole. Do it again. High hips, high initiation, relaxation, execution.
Myślę, że jest wysoka
Well, he talked this morning about when the equipment's gotten faster and faster.
Ended. The timing. These guys have a great drill. I'm going to take my skis off and show it. So, doing a standing broad jump, the most natural way to time it, the arms come forward with, right? Hips come forward, just like that. If you watch Andy Newell in a classic sprint on the World Cup, what's he doing? He's doing a series of standing broad jumps, double pull. Okay, what happens if your arms don't come through? And this will look really weird to you. But it's amazing how you see timing. Once you get on skis, people with the wrong timing. So what happens if my hips come first? Does that look like it works? No. It's actually a really good thing. Try to time it differently. It's hard. You'd be surprised at how many people's kicks and double pull motions, especially when they kick double pulling, are all screwed up on the timing. So think about the standing broad jump. It's a great thing to think about for bringing your hips through. Double pulling is very natural. I mean, if you can ski twirling a lasso over your head efficiently, that's awesome. But the key is the body position. It's got to be there. When you come out and you're double planning the pulls, your hips have to be forward and you're going to be like you're falling face. Whether your arm comes through and twists out a little bit like this, but you do this really well, so you lose a little time when you twist your hand out. I mean, there's going to be all kinds of little things. Maybe somebody's got a biomechanical twitch that requires them to do that. But and that's my point, is that the fundamentals, I don't think that there are a lot of people worldwide arguing about the fundamentals of it. There's little stylistic differences, personal, even national stylistic differences, but the initiation of the whole plant is I think it's unrefutable. It could be obvious. I'm going to switch to my skates, see the neutral body position work for you. So, let's stand in a very comfortable V. We're going to skate. We're going to get in a neutral body position. I'm not moving anywhere right now, am I? But is this the neutral position? No. That's the neutral position. Looking forward, I start skating. Let's do that again. So get your neutral body position. I'll just drop. Neutral body position, but I'm not there yet. Right now I'm very comfortable because I'm standing very upright. That's not the position. The position, if you go to the position, you just lean forward at the ankle and we're skating. Position, bending from the ankles. So I'm in a neutral body position right now, and I'm not leaning forward. So as soon as I lean from the ankles, I start moving. I'm hardly even kicking. I'm just falling forward up the hill. We can do this. Is timing. And I still have arguments with the ski team about it, but I'm seeing their point of view a lot better, and I think that a lot of the V1 timing has to do with how strong you are. And I'm not saying women aren't as strong as men in the upper body, but in general, even on the World Cup, you see slight differences in timing from the kick to the pull. And I'm going to have everybody come around behind me here. Well, maybe we'll call it the strong side arm. The key to V1 is that you give equal kick on each side, but it's a very asymmetrical technique. The strong side arm needs to be pulling straight down the track. What's with the arm? Where is the arm angle? 90%. Why is that? Because you need to get your hip up and over the pole. The whole point is getting your your arm over the